In the city of Lagos, there was a young, rich, and beautiful lady called Esther. Esther had businesses and investment, but no man has approached her to marry her. There was this young man, Fred, who warmed his way into her heart. To her she has found love, and she gave him her all. One day Esther discovered she was pregnant. She told Fred, and Fred said it was okay, he will accept and marry her on one condition: she has to close down her businesses. Esther was desperate and she didn't want to have her child out of wedlock, so she agreed. Fred saw her parents but told them he will come later to pay her bride price and do the needful. Esther started staying with Fred, and that was the beginning of her misery. Fred started beating her. He stopped taking care of her and he started bringing women to the house. She used all her saved up money to take care of herself and the baby. Few days to when she will give birth, Fred beat her and she started bleeding. Fred left her in the pool of her blood and told her nobody can save her. Luckily for her, a neighbor heard her shout when Fred was beating her and took her to the hospital. Esther gave birth to a beautiful girl and was discharged from the hospital. She got to the house and saw that Fred has changed the keys and has thrown her belongings outside. Esther had no other choice but to go back to her parents' house. Her parents were heartbroken, but Esther was even more devastated. 3 years has passed and Esther is trying to bounce back. She starts her business again and enrolls Elizabeth in a school. One day Esther took her daughter to the mall, and for a split second her daughter went missing. She found Elizabeth in the arms of a stranger, and the stranger asked Elizabeth, "Is that your mom?" Elizabeth said yes. Esther held on to her daughter and Elizabeth said, "Mommy, that's Uncle Damien and he wants to be my daddy." Esther was shocked and inquired from the stranger if that was truth. They both exchanged contacts and agreed to keep in touch. Over time they grew fond of each other. Damien was heartbroken about all Esther has passed through and fell more in love with how strong Esther was. Damien said he came to Nigeria to find a wife and he is not leaving without Esther. He married her, adopted Elizabeth, and they lived together in America. Esther waited her entire life to find someone she could sit with in silence, feeling appreciated, wanted, and adored, and when it finally happened, she knew why it was worth the wait.